Blessings and welcome to The Path to Freedom. My name is Daniel Roquéo, and as always, I'm very grateful that you're choosing to tune in, that you're choosing to participate in a moment of expanding our consciousness, a moment of raising our vibration, as the conscious spiritual beings that we are. Not here to get so much, but more here to wake up and to allow for the gifts and the blessings and the talents and the abilities that we have, that we are, to be expressed, to be shared, to be gifted to the world. So the topic for today is, let me see if I can remember it. It's quite long. The ego says, show me God and I will trust you. And God says, trust me and I will show you. And this, of course, has to do with surrendering. It has to do with leaping into the unknown, of releasing the safety nets and releasing the safety belts and all of these safety mechanisms that so many of us want to have in place before we move forward. The thing is, and that's the ego's job. The ego's primary function is to keep us safe, to keep us from getting hurt, to keep us from getting harmed, to keep us from being put in danger. And that may have served us very well in the past. But now, when we were perhaps living in caverns and, whatever. But now it doesn't so much serve us anymore. Actually, it more limits us because it keeps us stuck. As we have come, as the human race have come to the point where we're here to consciously participate in the unfoldment of our souls. We're here to consciously allow for the next great and grand expression of who and what we are. That safety mechanism of the ego, it doesn't serve us. It's not in alignment with, it doesn't benefit us. Because what the ego does is that it projects fear and worry and doubt. It has a false need of being in control, of wanting to know that we're gonna be safe, that we're gonna make it, that things will fall into place. And unless the ego has that assurance, which obviously can never be fully given, unless the ego has that assurance, it tries with every possible measure to have us stay put, to have us stay right where we are. So the ego says, show me, God, that I will be all right. Show me that I'll make it. Show me that everything's going to work out. And when you show me, then I can begin to move in this direction. So the ego is coming from fear, the ego is coming from scarcity and lack, a sense of separation. And obviously, as we've been talking a whole lot about the sacred laws and the art of manifestation and vibrational alignment, whatever we are in vibrational alignment with, which simply means that what we are thinking about the most, what we're talking about the most, what we're feeling about the most, and ultimately where we're moving from, the vibration or the state of consciousness that we're moving from, whatever that is, our predominant vibration, that is gonna be reflected and mirrored back into our experience. So that's not how God works. God does not work in the sense that we demand for God to do anything for us. But we need to make the first move. We need to move into the feeling tone of trusting so much that all is well, that something wonderful is happening, that everything is working for the highest good, that we'll always be sourced and fueled and funded, that we'll always be guided and moved and led, that we'll always have everything that we need, even when and if we're moving into perhaps a territory that we have not ever ventured into before, even when we don't know how it's going to work out. We need to trust that it will work out. So the ego says, show me God, and I will trust you. But that's getting it all backwards. That's just going to keep us stuck where we are. So we need to lean into and trust what God is saying, that trust me and I will show you. Because when we move from that sense of trusting that all of our needs are met, that everything that we will need will come to us when we need it, sometimes before, but at least when we need it. When we move into that vibration, when we lean into trusting spirit that much, trusting the universe that much, when we dare surrender the micromanaging, the trying to dictate, the trying to figure out, when we dare to surrender and place our hands in place our lives in the loving hands of Spirit, of God, of the universe, of the divine intelligence, or whatever we want to call it, that's when we're really going to be shown just how trustworthy God is. And I want you to keep in mind, I want all of us to keep in mind that when we're speaking about God, we're not speaking about a man in the sky who is judgmental, who is fierce, who is moody, who has favorites. But we're speaking about a loving presence. We're speaking about the creator as well as the creation, the divine intelligence, the infinite intelligence that has given birth to everything in cosmos. Every single snowflake is in God, and God is in every single snowflake. Every single blade of grass, every single star, every single planet, the space in between stars, the quarks, the supernovas, the galaxies, the sound, the stillness and the silence in between sounds, the seeming empty space, it is all in God. And this loving presence is loving, which means that it is unconditional. It never holds back. It never asks for anything in return, but it is in a state of complete givingness, always for itself, always seeking to be revealed in ever greater and grander ways, always seeking to come into ever greater and grander expressions. And the only way for it to do so is through us, through all of creation. So whenever we set out to move toward an intention or a vision or a dream or a goal, it does not serve God in any way, shape, or form to limit us, to hold us back, to deny us, or delay anything. That's not in the nature of God. But the only thing that is in the nature of God is an affirmative yes, saying, yes, I hear you, I support you, I'm here with you. Not that God is out there and we're here, but we are all unique, perfect, and whole, complete emanations, expressions of God. But just to illustrate, whenever we say, this is what I want, God says, yes, you got it. You got it, and you have got it. It's already done. In the infinite mind of God, it's already done. But we need to make that first move. As long as we sit around waiting for the perfect conditions, as long as we sit around waiting for, I don't know, to fall from the sky, for money to fall from the sky, or whenever we buy into the belief that I am not enough, or there is not enough, or I'm perhaps too educated, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too whatever. As long as we buy into those restrictions and limitations that are not in spirit in any way, but all in our minds, that's going to be our reality. That's going to be our experience. We get to choose. We get to choose In every single moment is a fresh starting point. It's a every single moment offers an opportunity for every single one of us to make a new choice, to make a higher choice, to go off in a new direction. We don't need to know how, we don't need to know when, we actually don't even to know what. We actually don't even need to know what. The only thing we need to do is to say yes to it. Yes, I'm going off in this direction. From now on, this is what my life is to be about. From now on, this is the direction I'm beginning to move in. And when we do, the whole universe rises up to meet us at this new found vibration, at this new found state of consciousness. There is only an affirmative yes in God. God doesn't ever deny, doesn't ever delay, doesn't ever say. God doesn't know anything about limitations. God doesn't know anything about what is not possible. And if you don't believe me, just look into nature. With an infinite number of possibilities that nature is a beautiful testament to. And nature on this planet is only, a speck of the totality of cosmos. So God knows nothing of limitations, nothing of scarcity. There's no lack in God. There's no lack in creation. There's no lack in the universe. The only place that there is lack, at least here on this planet, is in our own minds when we turn our attention to this seeming scarcity, to the seeming limitations. But Spirit doesn't know any of that. The only thing that Spirit knows is infinite possibility. The only thing that God knows is it is possible. But the only way for the seeming impossible to become possible is when we say yes to that impossibility. When we move from the impossible, making it possible in our minds. We need to make the first move. We need to approach Spirit first and say, yes, I trust. I don't know how, I don't know when. I perhaps don't even know what, but I trust. So I take the first step. I begin to move now in the direction of whatever desire, whatever good it is that we have caught for ourselves in our lives. And when we do, the rewards for trusting are beyond description. Beyond description. When we realize that we are buoyed up, that we are lifted, that we are embraced, that we are carried always, as long as we trust, as long as we stop turning our attention to the surface appearances, like that one statement. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. Just because I can't see the resources that I believe I'm going to be needing tomorrow or a week from now or next year, just because I can't see it now doesn't mean that it's not there. When I need it, and when the time is right and ready and ripe, I will have it. We will have it. Always and forever. Because that's how Spirit works. That's how Spirit works. So the ego says, show me God and I'll trust you. And God says, trust me and I will show you. Which we choose. Well, that's all up to us. We get to make that beautiful choice in every single moment. And when we do make whatever choice it is that we're making, when we do make the choice, we will not suffer the consequences, but we will see the consequences. Because whatever we choose from will come into, will emerge into our experience. Whether or not we're not trusting, if we're not trusting, we're going to see the evidence of why God is not trustworthy. When we are trusting, we're going to see the evidence of why God is trustworthy. And this has nothing to do with God. This has nothing to do with Spirit. Spirit is only reflecting where we are in consciousness. So we get to choose. My question is, what in this moment are we choosing? What in this moment are we choosing? That was it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, for joining me. Until we meet the next. Until we meet next time. Much love, many blessings.